Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So this is a White Dwarf. I've got a collection of old White Dwarfs that I'd like to do a little series of that I kind of just flip through and see what they were like back in the day. I haven't really bought one in a good while, and I think from what I have heard, they've kind of turned into a bit of a catalogue. But these were always great. I think they were about £8. I know this says 350, but they were more expensive over here in Ireland. But this is November. This is White Dwarf 263. And I think this was the launch of the Tau. But it has all sorts in it. It had Lord of the Rings. It has obviously 40k. It has fantasy, Warhammer Fantasy, or just called Warhammer. So this was always cool. Like I didn't know anything about any of these things. Like as in different games, I was like, oh, what's heavy metal? I didn't even know what that was. That's obviously the painters, in Games Workshop or Massive Beast here. Like there's a Squigot, and for some reason I would underline them. I don't know why. I don't know why I did that. This is like I had these years and years ago. Or I have here head written here because I think this was when you could buy parts. You could buy single parts, and I'd always be wanting to convert things. But these were so cool. This was the launch of Tau, so I was like, "What is this game? What is this universe?" And then this is what I really saw first, and they were very like anime mechy to me, even though I had seen stuff like that slightly, but not Gundam kind of. Yeah, I suppose kind of Gundam would be the best way to explain it. But I was sold on these straight away. These really cool ships. What's that? A Hammerhead. Yeah, I think I had all these. What did I have? I had one of these, had one of these, had one of these. And they were painted horribly. I think I converted him, put him on a big base. But I sold all these after. I sold them so cheaply. I think I had a whole army painted horribly now, but I think I sold them for like 150 pounds or euros. I can't remember at the time, but yeah, it was pretty silly. Yeah, this is so long ago. You see these Space Marines here, Ultramarines. They're multi-part plastic kits, I'm pretty sure. Terminators are the smaller baby Terminators like they used to be. Land Raiders same, Dreadnought same. These runes, I have a couple of those. They're cool. Actually, they're really cool. But yeah, we'll keep going. Tyranids, Nids. I had a force of them as well that actually went missing. I have no idea where they are. I had some converted ones. They were all painted up horribly, obviously, because I was a kid, but I actually don't know where they went. They just disappeared. Maybe they'll turn up one day. Inquisitor was a thing. A book. So it's all in the one, like, and even these, same again. I underlined them because I wanted them for some reason. This was before I kind of got into orcs. It's all Tau. Like key rings and bits and bobs. Steam tank, I remember that. So yeah, I would read these type of things. Like they had pretty extensive like add-ons, and I think chapter approved was a thing as well that would add on rules and things like that were always really interesting. So this is some kind of campaign, I think. Yeah, Dark Shadows final results. Games played, games won. So let's see, Orcs and Goblins paid game. They played 5,320. Okay, yeah, so they actually won less than they lost. But yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, these old minis as well. This is just nostalgic to me. These kind of chunkier Luxosaurus warriors. Yeah, okay, skinks. I don't know all of them now. Obviously, dwarves. But this is before obviously Age of Sigmar, stuff like that. Really cool stuff. Like so much work went into these magazines. Like that's why I kept them so well. Like I have a few with me now, and hopefully, if people are interested, I'll do a little bit. Keep going with this little series. Just give me a chance to kind of flip through. So yeah, okay. So I have a coffee here as well. This is kind of just more chillax video. As if any of the other ones aren't chillax. I don't know. This starter set, I remember one of my friends getting this. I did before I knew anything about Warhammer or anything like this, and I really liked the minis. I don't think he had them painted fantastically, but I still have some of these bits banging around somewhere. Some of my orcs were converted from his orcs. My 40k orcs were converted from his fancy orcs there at some point as well. So, okay, this is Tau. This is kind of introducing them, I think. This lore could be out of date because I think they've gone through maybe 2 or 3 different rewrites or kind of reimaginings, reboots of Tau Empire and how they work. But they're all very like, I don't know, it's probably bad to say, but they have some kind of influence from Asian and Oriental, what would you say, culture for sure. Or they seem to anyway. So I don't think that's probably not bad to say. I don't know. But I always thought that anyway. Really, really cool. I always love these little sketches. They'd be in the codex beside like broadside battle suits, and they would be beside the rules, we'll say. That was really cool. Or the different color schemes and conversion potential, like this shield and everything, which I don't think really had a... That shield, I don't... That's a part... I think it's off the front of the devilfish, actually. But yeah, this... They were doing quite well. That's actually quite heavy paint if you look at it. That doesn't look very tinned. But that could be someone's, obviously, personal style or whatever. They're quite nice. A little bit understated or crude. Yeah, these guys are really cool. Once I read the lore that these guys would kind of mix the DNA, their own DNA with other people, with what they eat, because they'd eat their fallen foes. I think I was converting up like crazy kind of orc crude conversions, which I think the Crude Ox is actually based on, I think, if I remember correctly. Or this mini was hard to get as well. I think he went out of production pretty fast, from what I remember. Could be wrong, I don't know. Now, Lord of the Rings I really got into, because I'm a massive fan of the movies and stuff like that. So, not so much the Fellowship. I got the starter set models and everything through like the magazine and all that. Strategy battle game, Middle Earth, something like that. I'll check it out. I've done... I think I've mentioned it in a few other videos, but yeah, that was a great way of getting like cheap goblin minis and elves and everything. So that was big, my big gaming love for a good while there. Steam tank, yeah. Okay, so this could be the launch of the steam tank. And these are all different pilots, maybe, or drivers. Don't know. Do you pilot a tank? Do you drive a tank? You drive a tank. But yeah, crazy idea. Or even this showing off some conversions here, squishing the Skaven. It's class. Really, really cool. How to make it. So this obviously looks like it was full metal mini, which honestly I don't think I would enjoy making. It's just pinning and everything. It's just a pain. I just really find it to be a pain. Black Library, different selection of books. I never really super got into the book side of it, of 40k or fantasy. It would be, if anything, it would be kind of audiobooks I would listen to, if ever. And this is really cool. Look at this whole spread on how to make this big Inquisitor kind of battlefield building, that obviously these kind of using the foam board and everything, these techniques could be used with different templates or your own kind of templates to make any sort of building, I suppose. But this is, what's a larger scale, 72mm or something like this scale, or quite big, the Inquisitor minis. And same thing again, they were full metal ones. But I was really interested in how like deep it was. That, you know, I think I read the battle reports and everything about it, but there was one where you'd have something out clips of your gun and all that, and I was like, wow, that's very detailed. But I suppose when you're playing like maybe one character in a scenario or two, you know, or even here, look, there's all what's that, like some kind of demon warp connection cuboid looking thing. And when I looked at that back in the day, I was like, wow, that's very expensive. All those different bits and like all those different minis. Like, look at this, that's half a torso, you know, bits and bobs from everything. Like, to buy those bits singly would be expensive just for that use, I think. But if you had them in your bits box, sure, what else are you going to do with them? Warhammer Chronicles. So what's this? Is this like... Okay, it's like... FAQ, potentially. Something like that. But yeah, I never actually played Warhammer Fantasy, an actual battle of it either. Or the game it's proper itself. John Blanche. Okay, so this is the guy, this is that style. People talk about Blanchitsu, I think it's called. Which I think is it's worth trying, alright. It's appealing, but I don't know if I have the colour knowledge really to get it right. Okay, more Tau lore. These are big blocks of text, but I mean, this is actually really interesting. They put a lot of cool thought and time into those, like, and it expands it a lot. Like, it's when you see a box of Fire Warriors, it's just like, okay, yeah, they're cool looking, but when you know a little bit of the lore behind them, or you hear like a story about them, you're just like, okay, that's, you know, it's so much better. It adds so much character to them, you know. You'll see here, obviously, the prices as well are very different. Like, I wonder how much Fire Warrior team would go for now. Is it like €30, something like that? I'm not sure. Devilfish, I always loved that design. I thought it was really cool. And I remember going to Games Workshop and I was buying Pathfinders because I had only a tiny bit of money, and you know, you get 3, I think it was for a tenner here in Ireland at the time, or around that. And yeah, this kid came over to, well, he was a kid, I was a kid as well at the same time, and he came over and said, "Oh, if you're getting, what are you getting, or who do you play, and all this." And I was talking to him for a little bit. I was a bit like, I don't know what to say, because it's my first time in the Games Workshop. But yeah, he said, "Oh, you need a devilfish," and he was right too, because in the rules apparently you need, at the time they needed to kind of pair up and be together. You couldn't take one without the other. More time. Look at that! Like, there's everything in this magazine. I think this is a battle. Yeah, a little battle report here. Really cool, man. Skirmish games with like RPG elements, with like leveling up and skills and stuff, are just so cool when you get the right kind of group for them. More time, like, I never actually played it, but I think if I'm the type of learner, like, if you show me the rules a few times, I'll catch on to it. Whereas if I read the rule book, yeah, fair enough, I'll have an idea, but I really have to play it to learn it. I think that's common enough. Or this is, what's it, chapter approved or something like this. Index Astartes. Yeah, World Eaters, yeah. So this would be like a whole lore of a chapter here. Potential rules if you want to play them. Now, I don't know if these would be like, what would you say, tournament legal. I don't know if they'd go as far as that, or if it's just, you ask your friends and, friendly play. Yeah, I had this catalog as well. I think, would you have to buy it, or maybe you just send away for it? Really cool, yeah. It would just make you want everything though. £5 Games Workshop voucher. What would you buy with that? Like a paint? Maybe a paint and a really crappy brush. I don't know. I don't know what you get for it nowadays. Store Finder. What's this? It looks like this is Inquisitors of Craft World. Okay, Eldar stuff. Cool. It's an Inquisitor. Like, it's a complete mix of all their games. Like, really cool. Are these Inquisitor models? I was tempted by these as well, like back in the day. Like, obviously, same thing again. They're the full kind of lead, and it'd be a pain in the arse to put together. But the larger scale and all that, just to make them, would be really cool. And I'd feel like, oh, you could put more time into painting, which I probably won't do. But anyway, this is interesting. This looks like a Perspex kind of shield, riot shield, but it's probably like a piece of clear plastic with a decal on the front. That's pretty cool. That's a nice mix. These all chaos, like the chunky juggernaut. I think that looks so goofy in a cool way. These look cool. These flesh hounds of corn, they look cool. Bloodletters also cool. Things like that are good though. If you pick them up on like eBay, they're good because they can be used for multiple games. You use them for fantasy, use them for 40k, use them for D&D, anything like that. Oh wow, okay, wow. I've read this battle report so many times. Dude, that's a freaking bad picture. Come on, could you? Who's that guy? Pete, come on, could you not just? Poor man, take a better picture of him. Fucking hell. Okay, yeah, this was so cool. I've read this so many times, and it was just so class. I don't know why. This is nostalgic as fuck now, right now. All this big class tier or tower terrain, and then they have their big kind of chimneys or whatever. Really, really cool. Or this kind of stuff. That's so cool, man. I read this so many times. This is like melty polystyrene. I kind of see what they are now, because with a little bit more knowledge in crafting now, you can kind of see how they made them. Like, this is all probably that's probably all, what's that stuff, insulation foam and stuff like that. I don't, okay, maybe, I'm not sure, but I can kind of imagine making them. And then the Tyranids get into their line. Now you see, look, these older Tyranid models, they're kind of goofy, some of them. Hormagaunts are the same. Who wins in the end? Tau probably win because they're new. And I have heard that, battle reports are faked, but back in the day I didn't think so. But anyway, okay. Anti-Tau group. Oh wow, okay. So a new army comes out and then they show the other armies what they could buy to fight against them. Hey, look, I mean, it makes sense. They're all very shooty. So these are all like fast, close combat, assault troops. Some really, really kind of goofy models. Like, look at this Dark Elder Talos. Like, Dark Elder got a completely, what do they call it, Drakari or something now. Completely work over. Same with these old rhinos. I think they're the same. There's been multiple different kind of big, chunky, dreadnought-like creatures for the kind of Space Marines released since. And bits and bobs. Yeah, look at this. I would say, oh, I want 4 of these, 3 of these, 2 of these, 6 of these, 6 of these. I don't know why. It would just be, I have this great idea, but look, oh, I need 2 full sets of gene sealers. I didn't want a tank, apparently. That looks like an absolute pain in the arse to paint. Obviously, you'd probably paint them and then pin them in, but I would 100% not have done that back in the day. I would just stuck them in and then cried about trying to fucking paint them. Bits and bobs, old paint, old tools. Like, this is probably, I'm guessing 2003. So let's go get another sip. Elijah Wood there. Frodo. His mini doesn't look anything like him. If that's going to focus now. Sorry for the wobbles. Yeah, that mini doesn't really look anything like him, to be fair. Hope this has been in some kind of focus. Okay, I'm going to start from this side again. So yeah, this is obviously pretty bet. Being around places, White Dwarf. But yeah, this was the starter set. Like, look, if that was 40 quid now, that would be actually class. That's loads of minis. It's mad that you only get 4 dice. We get loads of minis. Those runes, I have a couple of sets of them, and they're really thin. Sure, look, I mean, they're being cheap, or they're trying to fit it all in. But it's really cool. I always thought it was, when I was a kid, I did think it was like, oh, that's a pity that they're like Moria goblins, and these are obviously the Last Alliance elves and men, so it's like they won't fight Moria goblins, they're fighting Mordor orcs, but whatever, it's all the same. Fellowship, I think I have all these minis. Yeah, I do. I have them all painted somewhere. Actually, probably not too bad either. But having the whole Fellowship, there's so many scenarios. You could fight through the whole movie, all the movies, and try have them survive and stuff like that. It was so cool. That's not, Jesus, that's really good. Price wise, £12. 4 men. Yeah, 8 elves, 12 goblins. Like, obviously they're not multi-pose. They're not like multi-part, whatever. But they're really good. Uruk-hai, they were always beastly. Let me remember, I think they were 10 points and they had strength 4. That's why they were like, and defense 6 when they had like shield, and they were like really tough. They're cool. They had pikes and everything. And weather top, then you have Elrond and everything. So I don't know if this wasn't the launch. Maybe it was the launch because it says in the box, so they're kind of breaking it down. You'll see here, yeah, they're just kind of single pose. I've got like over 60 of these fucking goblins. I think they're all painted as well. Designer's notes. Really good. I think this was a great game for me to start on with properly kind of building a bigger force and that kind of thing. These are really interesting as well. These are like Weta Workshop, are they? Yeah, Weta Workshop. Like busts and stuff. I didn't really know what they were. I thought they were like miniatures because they're on bases and stuff. I wasn't really sure. But some really cool stuff there. Obviously based on the characters from the movie, like, you know. Balance Tomb. Yeah, this was probably another battle report then. Yeah, that's cool. Looks a lot bigger here than I did in the movie. How to paint the guys. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I followed this as close as possible to paint up the guys. Oh, so many cool battles with Lord of the Rings. So many cool kind of scenarios and games we've played. Me and my brothers. Orcs attack. Pretty small forces. I remember the elves being quite costly on points, but they had good courage. They wouldn't really run away much. And the men were kind of meh. And then orcs had really bad fight value and shoot value, but they were a lot cheaper. Yeah, there's more orcs there. Kind of ragtag kind of bunch. I had a lot of fun converting them when they came out with the plastic kits later on. Battle report. Nice terrain as well. Like, that's insulation foam for sure. Tufts, bits and bobs, yeah. And playing on a nice table like that would be so nice. Like, so kind of, what would you call it? Cinematic and that kind of thing. They were freaky, you know, when you're a kid. Disgusting. Yeah, that's it. Okay, guys, I think that's it. I went through all of it. Okay, that was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But hey, okay, that's the first White Dwarf there. I'm going to pop this up. Let me know what you think of it. I have a few more. I don't know when I stopped buying them or whatever. But I have a good few to get through, and some of them are better than others. But yeah, look, that's kind of a flip through, a longer flip through than I thought, nearly 20 minutes. But yeah, okay, look, I'll catch you in the next one. Let me know what you think. And yeah, good luck. Look after yourselves.